Good evening, everybody. Supervisor Chuck Fowle calling together the Township Board of Trustees meeting for February 4, 2025. It is 6 p.m. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Supervisor File?
Here.
Clerk Newbeck here. Trustee Hayward?
Here.
Trustee Morocco?
Here.
Trustee Nalamoku? Here. And Trustee Tedder?
Here.
Treasurer Brown is absent this evening, and we do have a quorum.
Excellent. All right. Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda as written, presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board and public announcements. Does the board have any? Yes?
Parks and Recreation Department is seeking applicants to immediately fill the position of a part-time park ranger. There's also multiple seasonal and part-time positions available. Please visit our website for more information on how to apply.
Any other board members? Birthday boy Tedder? Trustee Tedder? Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Uneventful birthday at that. On May the 8th, we just affirmed the date just 2 days ago. I'm working with Heidi Warrington from the Parks Rec Seniors Advisory Committee and Linda Zabarcha, who has been helpful to this point for the community garden and one of the candidates to be the garden manager. Officially through the Clarkston Rotary Club, we are going to have a fundraiser that is going to benefit the garden and community garden. So that is going to be May the 8th, probably around 6 for 2 to 3 hours. Details forthcoming, but we're hoping to secure the Brady Lodge if the date is available. But that is the date we've settled on, and we'd love to certainly see the board support and community support for what we hope to be another crown jewel of the township. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Any other board members? Nope. Any comments from anybody physically here, present? Nope. Anybody online? Comments? Or announcements, sorry. Okay, nope. Public comments? Again, I just kind of went through that, but anybody in the audience have any public comments? No. Online? No. Okay, public comments are closed. Public hearing, we don't have any. Presentation reports, we don't have any. Carryover, postponed agenda, we don't have any. Consent agenda. So, item 1, request to approve the Board of Trustees regular closed session meeting minutes of January 21st, 2025. We also have the request to approve the January 28, 2025 check run, including ACH for $916,427.62, to ratify the January 17, 2025 payroll of $337,260.59, and the November 20, 2024 EFT ACH wire activity for $492,761.88. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
One more thing.
Oh, there is? Where?
Number 3.
Oh, sorry, I do. Yep. Request to approve the license agreement between Oakland County and Independence Township for the use of Brady Lodge at Bay Court Park as early voting site. Now can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, approved. We do not have anything removed from the consent agenda. We have regular business. Members of the public shall have the opportunity to address the township board. If you do come up, please state your name and your address, and you will be limited to 5 minutes. Understand the board does not respond back. Does anybody in the audience like to come up and make a comment? No? Is anybody online? Nope. Okay. Moving on. Can I get a motion to request the appointment of board members for the DDA and the seniors? We're actually looking at David Givens for the DDA. Can I get a motion to approve him?
I'll move to reappoint David Gittens to the Downtown Development Authority with a term expiring December 31st, 2026.
Support.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We also, can I get a motion to appoint Tara Hanson to the DDA?
I'll move to appoint Tara Hanson to the Downtown Development Authority with a term expiring December 31st, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve Kim Kaler to the Senior Center Advisory Committee?
I'll
I'll make
move
a
to,
motion
go ahead.
to appoint Kim Kaler to the Senior Advisory Committee with the term expiring on December 31st, 2026.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Let's reappoint, that's all right. The next item is the request to appoint board and committee member, and that would be Mr. Hayward, Trustee Hayward, to the Van Norman Lake Improvement Board. Can I get a motion to approve him?
I would, you, go ahead, Jim.
I'll move to appoint David Hayward as the township representative on the Van Norman Lake Improvement Board with a term to expire with his term on the Charter Township of Independence Board of Trustees.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. We're just humming along. All right, third item. A little bit more involved. I'm looking for a motion to approve the township contract with Oakland County Sheriff's Office to provide police service for the contract years between 2025 and 2027. Can I get a motion to approve it?
Are you gonna get into any detail or background?
If somebody asks a question, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, I didn't know if for the public's benefit, if there's some context would be helpful, because this has turned out to be a surprise to the township, but also, I didn't know if we wanted to provide some context.
Sure. So Oakland County, in their wisdom and their accounting, decided that there was 12 municipalities that contract the Oakland County service out of 62. Of those 12, they took and raised their annual costs significantly. And I'm gonna say significantly because in years past, it had been a couple percentage points. This year, for 2025, Independence Township turned out to be 15.2% increase, which is huge. And it's their way of looking at it and saying that they were not counting everything. Now, they've gone through and put everything into the basket. While we asked to see what made up that basket, they have not given us that information. They pretty much just said, you gotta trust us and believe us, that is in there. We've done our study 18 months ago, so on and so forth. We asked for copies of the report. They would not give them, or have failed to give them to this point. And so we kind of ran up against a timeline where we have to get these contracts back to Oakland County. Technically, Oakland County, or Independence Township's a little late on that. I did talk to Commissioner Woodward, and he did allow us a little bit of latitude because we have a little bit of a unique situation here because we subcontract out what we contract. In years 26 and 27, they also went through and said, we're gonna take an increase, which traditionally has been the cost of living, which includes things like medical and all this other stuff, but they said that it does not include it or reflect it accurately. So now they have gone through and took the cost of living, which is calculated by the state, and they are now adding an additional 6% on top of that. Historically, the cost of living is running around 3%, so that brings us up to about a 9.1%. And so if you look at that over the 26 and 27, you're looking at a cumulative of about 36% increase over 3 years, where if you're looking at it from a dollar and cent standpoint, the contract is basically about $1.5 million more than was originally projected. So huge impact. We also had a meeting with the commissioners, the subcommittee, and actually the board as a whole, asked them for a little latitude on maybe amortizing that across the full instead of front-loading it in the first year. They would not do that. They were unwilling to compromise at all or make any adjustments to the contract. So as it stands right now, they pretty much said, here it is, take it or leave it. And we're at that point where we actually have to come through. Most of the townships have gone through and have done some sort of reduction in the number of police officers, or they have not brought on additional ones that they had planned to. Independence Township is in a very, very similar situation where, you know, trying to absorb another $1.5 million is unattainable, unsustainable. We would actually go through with the millage that we did for the police, we would actually go negative into the 4 years. So we have looked at trying to make some adjustments. We're in the final portion of making those determinations. And so one of the things I'm also going to be asking here tonight is to give me a little latitude of a plus or minus 10% on the head count for the contract as we finalize negotiation with the school and for the village of Clarkson, because they also subcontracted. That might have been a little bit more than a quick synopsis, but that's basically where we're at. We are looking at longer term options, but in the short term, we don't have a lot of play other than cutting officers, and that does not make a lot of sense when we're looking at the increase in crime. So, all right, so I knew that wasn't gonna open up the door for more questions, so.
Well, this is really more of a comment. I think you did a really nice job of consolidating, you know, like a pretty big deal. But when, I just wanted to clarify too, when you're speaking of the county, this is the County Board of Commissioners, is my understanding that the Sheriff's Association representing the deputies and the sergeants and everyone that serves us and serves our community, we're not in favor of this. This is really a Board of Commissioners action, and my understanding as well, and please clarify that I don't believe that the sheriff was on board with this either. So I don't know where the motivation came from, but of course we have to have public safety for our residents, and we're kind of over the barrel at this point, but there's a long game, perhaps opportunity for us to look at this further.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. There was a couple articles that were put into, I believe, the Detroit News and the Free Press, came from even the union for the sheriff and the police, and they were opposed to the way the commissioners counted. We all believe, all 12 of us, because this has been going on now for the better part of almost 3 months, right? The commissioners knew 18 months ago, they say that's how long they've had this study. They did not tell us until after the election. And then they tried to tell us to sign the contracts before the year end. So we were scrambling from the townships, the different supervisors, and the mayor of Pontiac, to try to get our head around this and try to figure out what to do. During that time, there's been numerous individuals from the police department that have said that they did not agree with the formula and how it was calculated. We all agree that we should pay our fair share. It's just kind of more of how did you count? It's the bottom line that counts, provided you know how you're counting, and also the short notice. It could have been handled, I think, significantly better. Mm-hmm. But given the fact, as you pointed out, they're kind of making it a zero-sum game. Either you do it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trustee Morocco.
I just want to go on the record to, say that yes, vote for this in no way is condoning what the county is doing to us, which I believe is just completely violating us because they can. So between the roads, the millage, and this, I don't know how we can even sustain to do business with the county for much longer. So I don't know what we're gonna do about it, but we have to, obviously we have to have protection for the residents, even though we're being bullied and strong-armed into overpaying for it. But I just want to make that clear that a yes vote does not mean that I agree with it in any way.
Fair enough.
A quick point, to have more time to work with those other 12 communities dealing the same, can we just approve a 1 year? Why do we have to spread this out for 3 years?
The commissioners, have not allowed any variation to the contract at all. So there is none. Matter of fact, we're probably one of the very last ones to actually sign the contract. They've all pretty much signed it and moved on. And I say move on, I say that loosely, because we are talking about, there's a short-term problem we have to deal with here tonight, and that's what we're gonna be voting on here. And then there's gonna be a longer-term game plan. And so we are over the barrel, as trustee Tedder said, and we need to do that for the first year, but we are definitely looking at longer-term options where we can have more control over our destiny and not deal with these surprises, because these numbers, even in years 2 and 3, are not fixed. They can adjust. They're allowed to adjust them. So it might get better, but most likely not. It's probably gonna go the other way.
So to that end, they can adjust the numbers, but we're locked in no matter what. That doesn't seem right. Like, I understand if we're making a soft commitment here, but there should be some sort of caveat that we have an opt-out of our own. Otherwise, we're blindly accepting a 3-year contract that can, oh, by the way, change at the board's discretion.
So there is an opt-out. It's 90 days. So we would have to give in writing 90 days notice to the county to say that we're done. So there is an opt-out clause for us.
Okay.
But obviously, we're not gonna do that unless we
No,
have a
of
game
course
plan in
not,
place.
of course not.
Right. So, but there is that option.
Yeah, thank you.
And before I do and ask, and I should have done this, I apologize for a motion on this. I do want to give anybody in the audience an opportunity to address this particular issue. It is kind of a bigger one, so if anybody does, please step up to the podium and give your name and your address. Yep.
Hi, Joe Sucher, 5071 Hilltop Estates Drive, Clarksville. Just a question on the 90-day opt-out. Is that, can that be at any time during the 3 years, or does it have to be on the boundary of each annual renewal or whatever?
Anytime. Anytime for any reason.
Anytime for any reason?
Yep.
Sounds good.
So technically, we're not supposed to respond to the people at the podium. That's why I'm
Oh,
looking
I'm
like,
sorry.
okay.
I was just curious,
If you want to.
who else is like on the fence? That's it, I mean.
I do, so again, I'm not really supposed to respond to the public comments. But if somebody else up here has that question, no, I could.
Yeah, I think perhaps the public might want to know, what are the other 11 communities? You mentioned Pontiac.
Yeah.
Who else is feeling this pain?
So there was an article and there was a letter written out that kind of listed out all the 12 different municipalities. 11 signed it. The one who did not was Pontiac, and Pontiac did not disagree with the spirit of it. They just didn't like a particular sentence in there that called out an individual, and they didn't think that was appropriate. Otherwise, they did verbally say that they believe in the process was not really that great. So all 12, but again, given the short term of notice, there hasn't been a lot of options, so they've all capitulated and signed.
And who are the other 10? We have Pontiac, Independence.
Oh, okay, so we have
Orion.
Pontiac, Independence, Orion, Commerce,
Brandon?
Oxford,
Brandon.
who?
Brandon?
Brandon did, Springfield did, I'm not Springfield, Springfield has the state, right?
Highland?
Lake Angeles?
Oakland,
And Rochester Hills.
Rochester Hills, and I feel like I'm missing one other,
Auburn Hills.
has their own,
Has their own.
yeah.
So basically, everybody that contracts with Oakland County has gotten this big, huge unintended raise. that we
So
didn't expect.
there's only 12
Right.
out of the 62 that do.
Yep.
And 11 of them signed the form saying, we don't agree with this in its entirety. And I think that it's, and I don't want to put, it's not fair for me to put words in the mayor of Pontiac's
Sure.
mouth, but did verbally say that he did not agree with the increase.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, yep, one more.
Sherry Hall, 4583 Ennismore Drive, Clarkston. I had a quick question. I know you can't answer it, but you said earlier on that is the coverage of this Oakland County for the schools also, or was that just for the township and does that include the schools? Sorry.
Does that include the school resource officers?
It was 15.1% across the board. That's every type of, there's different classifications or groupings of officers, and that was all of them across the board.
Got it.
It was an aggregate of 15.1%. Huge increase all the way across the
Yeah.
board. Any other public comments? Okay, so I'm going to close public comments on this.
Check online.
Pardon me?
Check online.
Online, is there any public comments? Nope. Okay, it's closing online public comments. Let's move on. So can I get a motion to approve the contract as submitted?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 to 2027 Law Enforcement Services Agreement between the County of Oakland, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and the Charter Township of Independence to grant the Township Supervisor the authority to modify up to 10% the number and rank of sheriff's deputies assigned to Independence Township as shown in Exhibit A of the 2025 to 2027 Law Enforcement Services Agreement with Oakland County and Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and to direct the supervisor and the clerk to sign the agreement as the authorized representatives of the township.
Second.
Did I hear a second?
Yes, reluctantly, but second.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. We do not have anything on the closed session. Communication for future agenda items. We have fire department reports for May, June, July, August, September, October, and November of 2024. We also have minutes for residential open space advisory committee for October, November, and December of 2024. And, you know, do I have to get a motion? I forget on this. Nope. Okay, so then, board members, final comments?
Move to adjourn.
Okay. If not,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Approved.